Remember the strike from yesterday in Sweden where supposedly all of the mechanics that work for Tesla went on strike? Well, there's this article in Swedish, which I just translated to English, says, promises of a strike against Tesla organized by the trade union IF Metal raised concerns among the company's customers, but when the day came, no one chose to stop their work. Tesla Club Sweden visited this particular service center and they got a closer look at the whole situation. Friday's planned strike at Tesla, whose purpose was to cripple the company's operations, did not take place. No signs of a work stoppage was seen at this particular service center. The company's business was in full swing. Cars were being repaired. Customers were dropping off and picking up their vehicles as usual. None of the employees had chosen to go on strike, and consequently, no bookings had to be rescheduled. So why did no one choose to strike? Well, the reporter took the time to talk to the workshop staff, who happily shared their views. They claimed they did not want to strike because their working conditions and wages were better at Tesla compared to previous workplaces. In addition, their shift flexibility, I guess, the translation is maybe a bit off, and overtime pay are added to the salary, and the salary exceeds what other companies offer. The company also provides stock options, which, according to one young employee, helped him buy his first condo. When asked about their relationship with IF Metal and the union's demands, the employees said that they had met with union representatives on several occasions. However, these meetings had not been convincing and they had not been attracted by what they were told. In addition, despite the union having a list of items that the employees lack, the employees believe that their wages and working conditions are not only better than at other workshops, but also include full insurance and occupational pension. According to the employees, only a small part of the staff is in the union, and those who are do so because of old habit. One technician pointed out that the fact that no one chose to strike should be a sign of what they think of the union and their methods. Even at other Tesla centers around the country, only a few employees have chosen to strike. However, the employees we spoke to expressed a concern about possible reprisals, not from the employer, but from the union. So who is the enemy here? Tesla or the union? I think the answer is obvious. It is the union. And Rob Maurer from Tesla Daily shared this article where one of the Tesla employees said this about the strike: it is unnecessary. I don't think we get better wages with the collective agreement. We are above the minimum wages in the agreement, but if Tesla were to sign an agreement, I think we will receive the minimum wage. So overall, it seems that Tesla employees are happy. Many did not go on strike. Some did strike. However, over the next few days, we'll probably have more details about how many people actually went on strike. But overall, this is really good news for Tesla. The employees love working with Tesla, so much in fact that they are refusing to strike. And this overall reduces the chances of Tesla employees unionizing against Tesla anywhere in the world, really. Tesla has launched a Cybertruck delivery event shareholder lottery, and any Tesla stock investor can sign up. The deadline is November 3rd, and then within about a week, you would know if you won. Gary Black has a few strong words to share with all of us, and I agree with him. When Cybertruck comes out in a few weeks, it will be the biggest people magnet vehicle we have ever seen. Wherever Cybertruck goes, people will surround it, take selfies of themselves on it, next to it, and attached to it, and post them on social media for all the world to see. If you can't see that, Cybertruck will spark a huge halo effect of interest in the entire Tesla franchise, and like any vehicle we have seen in years, you are not thinking clearly. Better utility than a truck with more performance than a sports car. That almost sounds like an ad, and it sounds like a good ad. The pricing at first is probably going to be pretty high, but eventually I think it is going to start coming down later, especially quite quickly as production scales. So I think it is good to have a long-term perspective here. In the long term, I think the Cybertruck will be very, very successful, but in the short term, there may be a lot of hiccups and issues and problems, and that's all right. Also, if you think about it, generally speaking, ramping vehicles includes going through hell for Tesla, but if the rumors are true about the refresh Model 3, that ramp has been one of the smoothest ramps ever. But I expect that the Cybertruck ramp is going to be a really difficult one like some of these here. Did you know that ARK Invest had a position in GM? Well, many people did not. But even if you didn't know, it doesn't matter because they just gave up on that position. ARK Invest just sold their GM stock. The ARK Invest decision to pull out from GM probably has to do with this. Cruz said on October 26th, we have decided to proactively pause driverless operations across all of our fleets while we take time to examine our processes, systems, and tools and reflect on how we can better operate in a way that will earn public trust. They do not operate just in San Francisco. They also operate in Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas. They recently entered that market, and also Phoenix. It's interesting how they felt the need to say that this isn't related to any new on-road incidents and supervised AV operations will continue. We all know that's happening because they got their permit pulled in California due to an accident that severely injured a person. But the worst part about it was that they got accused of editing the video that they shared with the government. And that's some nasty, irresponsible behavior if that's true. Here's some good news. Tesla is among the 10 most oversold S&P 500 stocks, which means that right now, maybe it's not a terrible idea to buy more Tesla stock. And looking at this, yeah, I see an opportunity. The market is in extreme fear territory. When many investors panicked last December, I was excited. They should replace the word fear with opportunity and extreme fear with extreme opportunity. It does not mean you will make money, but it means there's opportunity. During times of fear, I am not scared. I am just looking for opportunity. Here are US vehicle sales from January through September. There is no other vehicle that has grown as much as the Model Y. 87% year over year growth. That's crazy. And it is so close to the RAV4. There's a good chance that this year in the US, Tesla Model Y will beat the RAV4. That's ridiculous. If 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I told you that Tesla will have a vehicle that will outsell the RAV4, most people would have looked at me and laughed. And the Model 3 is almost outselling the Toyota Corolla, and it's already outselling the Honda Accord and the Honda Civic. Very impressive. And looking at China, it's even more impressive because Model Y has outsold every single model in China. Is the #1 best-selling model out of 675 different models. And I believe this includes any kind of vehicle because you can see that the Toyota Camry is here as well. And the second and the third place goes to BYD. The Model 3 is not here because of the refresh, of course. But even with the deliveries being paused for quite a while now, it is still in 27th place. The refresh will probably put it into the top 20 and maybe even in the top 15. And if we get lucky, maybe even in the top 10. So yeah, the competition is coming. Meaning Tesla is coming for everyone else. Only BYD is doing fairly well. But it's only within China. They are not really doing all that well outside of China. And here are sales by brand. So far this year in China, you can see that Volkswagen is losing sales. Toyota is losing sales. Honda is losing sales. But Tesla is gaining sales, 36% year over year. The growth that BYD is experiencing is also pretty impressive, but they are actually just a car company pretty much. They are not even trying to work on full self-driving. I saw some people overly excited about Tesla increasing the prices just now in the US and in China, but I would like to remind everyone that this year already, if we look just at the Model Y long range in the US specifically, Tesla already increased the price 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So this last price increase, I don't view it as super big news. It's exciting, and it is a step in a direction that many people really like. But just looking at Tesla's history, it does not mean that from now on the prices will only go up. In the long term, I still think that Tesla will cut prices many more times, but despite that, I am all in Tesla stock because the opportunity is still so incredible. But I assume that most people watch me because they want to know what's going on exactly, and I just want to keep expectations realistic here. The deliveries in mass in Europe of the refresh Model 3 have begun. In the meantime, there's this commotion in China because a Model 3 buyer in Guangzhou, China crashed his new car directly into the wall of a delivery center, making it the first collision on record. And the owner says the safety of the new car is excellent. He sounds like a very positive person. Tesla Chan here says that Tesla Giga Shanghai's production of the new Model 3 Highland is very smooth. I'm not sure if that's based on an inside source. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not, but what's happening right now so far seems pretty good. And we are not hearing anything about Tesla having any issues with the production of the refresh Model 3. We are only hearing good things so far. Jordan usually only shares his takes about Tesla, but not Tesla stock. This time though, it's different. He's talking about Tesla stock. In 2020, my view was that after the 15x jump in stock price, Tesla stock was going to trade sideways for the next 3 to 5 years because it had become overvalued. That is similar to what happened between 2014 and 2020. But just like the previous time, with the next 3 to 5 years, Tesla stock price would become coiled and compressed and have another massive leg upwards after the doldrums. What I would like to see happen around 2025 is a confluence of lower interest rates, FSD revenue, IRA tax credits, the release of a compact vehicle, energy storage growth by 3 or 5 times, and cost reductions from 4680 cells drive big margins and big revenue growth. If the market overshot the value again, it could result in another 10 to 15x. Elon just made a comment about what's happening in the world and what he's going to do about it. Starlink will support connectivity to internationally recognized aid organizations in Gaza. Here's a fun chart for you. Tesla outsells the entire German auto industry in China with not just all of its models, but with just one single model. There's this one particular picture that created a lot of talk on X. This is Cybertruck, and you can clearly see that there's a word scrap written on it. What does this mean exactly? Well, Sandy Monroe explains.
Here's a good example of what happens sometimes when you're doing pre-production. This is not a junkyard. This is probably the backyard at the Tesla facility in Austin. And you can see here it says scrap. These things happen. When you're in pre-production, welding equipment doesn't quite work sometimes, or maybe the fixture wasn't in the right position. I know a lot of you have asked me to make comment, but in essence, this is just pre-production. You can see the castings back here. This is the rear end of the Cybertruck, and then over here you've got the front end. And you can see that these are very big castings, huge castings in fact. And I can see a gap here. It could be that the caps didn't quite work out, or didn't work on the fixture, or who knows what. But if it didn't work, you just throw it in a bone. This is what you call a boneyard in an automotive facility. You just throw it in a boneyard and somebody will get to it eventually. It is scrap. It just didn't work out. Is this junkyard? No. Is this something where there's a whole bunch of problems? No. It's just a mistake on the line, and that happens when you first get started. So nothing to get excited about. Tesla's not going out of business, and all the other naysayers. I could swear, but I won't. Anyways, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Thanks for watching. Bye.
This is one of the most pathetic things I've seen recently. General Motors just pulled the plug on Elon Musk's ultimate vision for Tesla. They are talking about full self-driving. Just because GM is stopping the driverless taxi operation in all markets without safety drivers, it does not mean that anything bad happen to FSD. The only thing that this means is that the regulation is going to be a bit stricter. But if cars become significantly safer than human drivers are, I don't think we will have any really big major issues. It won't be easy, but I don't think this headline is justified. General Motors just pulled the plug on Elon Musk's ultimate vision for Tesla? What? The ability to turn something that's bad for GM and make it actually bad for Tesla is quite astounding when you look at the mainstream media. As earnings are coming out from legacy automakers, the key difference between Tesla's and legacy auto's strategy on EVs has emerged really, and this was known before, but now it's just becoming more apparent. Tesla says, let's focus on making the EVs cheaper, and the legacy automakers say, let's delay our ability to make cheap EVs. We are delaying investments, we are delaying models, we are delaying our targets, etc, etc, etc. There's this new post about the Cybertruck. This seems to be a pretty common reaction. As we are driving home, my son starts screaming. He sees not one but two Cybertrucks charging. I immediately pull next to one of them, and we both get out to start looking at what can only be described as the most awesome, intense, magnificent, crazy, out-of-this-world vehicle we have ever seen. They told us that the employees that have driven it all cannot believe its capabilities. He said the event unveiling is going to be unlike anything anyone can imagine, and that they were just collecting last-minute data due to the low overnight temperatures. That's some serious hype about the delivery event. I'm keeping my expectations relatively low, but certainly I am excited. Personally, I just find it's more fun to keep expectations low, and then even if the event does not go incredibly well, you're still excited. And if the event is incredibly amazing, then it's even better. Only in the long term, I have very high expectations for the Cybertruck. Elon Musk and Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of X, addressed X employees together for the first time since renaming the company. Here are the key takeaways. Musk expects the company creator payouts to increase significantly. That's great in the long term. Musk wants X to be an everything app that is like reachable, ultimately exceed the app. And getting back to creator payouts, maybe about a month ago, there were a lot of good long-form posts on X, and long posts get a much bigger reach, but now I see a lot less of them. I think that's after everyone realized, oh, while X does pay some money to its creators, it's a very tiny amount. If someone spends that same amount of energy and time doing, let's say, a video on YouTube, they will probably earn 10 to 20 times more money, and perhaps even more on YouTube than on X. But in the long term, I believe that is going to change. And on YouTube, you need to worry about being censored. You're always worried about, oh, if my video gets a copyright strike, and if I get just 3 of these in total, my whole channel just disappears forever. But on X, they are a lot more open. And by the way, these strikes, they can happen for some silly reasons also. For example, you say something that YouTube thinks you shouldn't say. So in the long term, I actually want to transition to X. I personally don't like doing text posts. I like videos a lot more. So I want to do videos. And X right now still does not. Yeah, the YouTube and X in terms of video, there's no close comparison yet for creators. And even for me as a viewer, then I go on X. Yeah, it's just not as good yet. That will change though, eventually. X plans to do payments for someone's entire financial life to the point a bank account is not needed, and Musk expects it to be rolled out by the end of the next year. Musk thinks X can build a viable LinkedIn competitor and a dating platform. X's crowdsourced fact-checking system is better than some sort of mysterious censorship bureau, according to Musk. I fully agree with that one. Musk wants X's video player to be natively integrated into TVs and rival all of YouTube's features. And this is really interesting to me as a Tesla stock investor. Musk advises employees to bring up at least one piece of bad news in meetings. He probably does something similar with Tesla employees, perhaps. Musk plans to do Q&As with Yaccarino once a quarter and stream the next one externally on X. So not just internally, but also externally, I guess, for everyone to see. That's going to be interesting. Another thing that I am greatly excited about, I think, And maybe this is just a bit wishful thinking, but I hope not. But it could be. X becoming a video platform that competes with YouTube, I think is going to put pressure on YouTube. And if YouTube is not as dumb as all of these legacy automakers that chose not to be active about the EV transition, if they are not that dumb, they will relax their censorship rules. The number one reason why I don't want to rely on YouTube and just being a creator full-time in the long term, the number one reason why I don't want to do that is because of potential censorship. Because if you think about it, I support Elon Musk very strongly. And there are some political forces that really do not like Elon Musk. And so if you are a supporter of him, what does that make you? And maybe social media platforms wouldn't just ban people that support Elon Musk, but how about let's reduce this guy's reach by 20% this month, and then another 20% next month, and then another 20% next month, and then another 20% next month. Let's basically eliminate his reach, and let's do it in a way where no one will actually even notice that we have done anything. And we know from Twitter files, these shadow bans are very real. And that's one reason why I appreciate every single one of you who support me on Patreon so much, because that actually tells me, oh, maybe there is a chance that this could turn into some sort of a long-term career. Because if I have people supporting me on Patreon, even if I get canceled or completely shadow banned, it doesn't really matter. So I'd like to thank all of my Patreon supporters one more time, because without you, I would think, oh, this is just something that I'm just doing temporarily, just for fun. And making these videos is a lot of fun, but now I'm starting to think that maybe this could turn into something different. And I live in Canada, and the censorship here, I think, is quite a bit stronger, and is definitely getting much stronger. They are not even really being that subtle about it, although they are saying, oh, this is not going to affect anyone. I don't believe it. So I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters one more time, because your support means a lot to me. YouTube channel updates on personal concerns and goals. That's a new video available exclusively on Patreon, and I will post one more today. That one will be about Tesla stock. By joining my Patreon, you will get access to how much I think it is fair to pay per Tesla share each year between 2023 and 2033. If you sign up for the investor tier of support, you will also get my valuation model of Tesla stock with a 45-minute video walkthrough. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching that discussion about the future with Elon Musk, watch this one first. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.